So what'd you guys do for Christmas? Did the team practice?
Well, we practiced, I don't know, what's today?
The night of the 25th.
We practiced, this will be our third practice.
What have you seen out of Gonzaga so far?
Pretty much the same. I think they got like the third ranked offense in the country. They're always well traveled early in the season because the conference they play in. Are they switching conferences?
Yes.
So the conference they're in now, they search for competition, so they're pretty well traveled. They played a lot of tough games. They always play a lot of tough games early in the year because of the situation they're in. So, offhand, I've watched them all. So they played some tough. It's hard to play at San Diego State. So I know they played Kentucky and UConn and Baylor, probably missing some. Plus they were where they were at the Bahamas. They played a host of big games already. So they can score. They're always like they're second or third in the offensive efficiency.
Has anything changed with Graham since you guys saw him last year?
Yeah, I mean, probably need to ask Mark a few of them.
This guy said you guys are like the most locked in you've been all season. Why do you think that would be?
I hope he's right.
You've been talking this whole season about how it's the teams that get their guys gelling the most early that do well. Like, how do you think that you guys are gelling right now?
I don't know what I've never used the word gelling. Not sure what that means. But I would say, I think what I've said is development. I always talk about you got to get better. You got to continue to get better. So it doesn't matter how good you are now. You got to win games. You got to improve. College basketball is about March. You can have a great year. You flame out in March. People want your job. They're calling for your head. I've been doing this a long time, man. That's just how it is. So you got to get better. And that's what I try to focus on, player development throughout my career. Take a lot of pride in that, and team development. So players get better, your team gets better.
One of those guys, Aday, seems to be moving a lot better, especially on the defensive end this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
How close is he to getting to a level where you can play him even when he doesn't necessarily have a great matchup on the other side?
He's getting there. I think defensively, there's some things we could do to get him, maybe possibly have him be able to do that. But I would say he's definitely, I agree with you. But he's young. I mean, he's still young. When you're 7, can you imagine being 7'3" at his age?
No.
Trying to get your coordination caught up. I mean, it's just so hard to get coordinated at his age. And, his feet still get tangled up from time to time. He's a work in progress. When we work in the half court drills, he's pretty dominant. But the game, you got to run up and down. So that's where I think you're alluding to. He's getting better at that.
Yeah. With his rebounding, I know he catches a lot of them flat-footed, but his position,
he doesn't need to jump a lot.
Yeah, his positioning seems to have improved also.
Well, he's just not getting pushed around as much. He's definitely much stronger. And it's, I think, but it goes back to your original comment, I think, about coordination of his feet, because if your base is, you're off balance in your base is where you get pushed. It's not as much upper body strength as it's your base of, getting your feet in a planted power position, as we like to call it. And he's obviously worked really hard. I talked with you about Dave Andrews, but a lot of that is just not just strength, physical development, coordination. It's something I never had to go through, becoming more coordinated. My growth spurts all happened before I was 12.
Okay.
So I think that's part of it. And then the last part of it is still, adjusting to college basketball, which is ridiculously physical. I mean, just, and it's going to, the next 3 months will be crazy physical. And tomorrow's game will be like that. I mean, you alluded to number 13 for Gonzaga. So, how you say his last name? Ek.
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah, the young guys all know, they know. Like, he's extremely physical player in his 5th or 6th year, right? It's just how college basketball is. So that's the last piece of the adjustment, you know, for Aday. I mean, our game's so much more physical than, I mean, you know, you could blow out a candle in the pros, you might get a flagrant one. You know, it's just the way it is.
With that physicality, how do you coach the guys differently when you're dealing with a whistle like the one in New York?
Which whistle? I mean, you know, it's just college basketball.
Yeah.
You know, you know, look, some people run certain events. It is what it is. There was no Big Ten officials on the game. Explain that to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But they want you to keep coming back, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I wanted to ask with Tyler Bilodeau, when you have when you have an offensive hub that doesn't always need to be on the ball, how helpful is that for your offense?
Well, look, you can't win without guys that can put the ball in the basket. So we tried that last year. It doesn't work. You gotta have guys who can score. You know, the advantage for Tyler is he can score inside and out. That does a good job of it. You know, he can make shots. I think he's leading us some 3-pointers made. And he can, you know, he scores mid-range. He can score in the post. He's got to get him on by. He's falling forward at the foul line, and we got to correct that.
How's Eric looking?
As in
After the game, because he had that shot to the face.
You know, I'm jealous. I mean, guy's 6'7", 220. He's a good-looking kid, man. The guy's a stud. You know, he was. His parents came to New York to see him, and he's back in the gym on Christmas Eve by himself. I mean, that's just how he is.
And then Will had a really good shift, it looked like, in the first half, and then he had that kind of turnover spree in the second half. What are you seeing out of his development?
Well, he struggled in the turnover department and the free throw department. His defense has been great. And I think when we get the ball in certain people's hands that can throw the lob, it makes it, you know, makes him much more effective when we get the ball in people's hands that can throw the lob.
Yeah, I think Sebastian was throwing him a couple of those in the first half there. What do you think about
Sebastian and Scott?
Yeah.
I've said this all year. Sebastian's improved immensely. I'm hard on him because I know he had more in him. He's got more in him. He's cut down on his turnovers and he's improved his shot selection. That makes you a better player.
I know we've asked about Dylan before, but what do you see as kind of maybe his primary issue at this point on the offensive end?
What do you mean by issue?
I
got issues.
In terms of,
there ain't enough time for my issues.
Aggression, looking for a shot, or driving the lane.
I mean, I think as a point guard, you need to be able to make quality decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of the ball, try to be at least 2-1 or much higher in assist to turnover, and be a good on-ball defender, and be able to run your team.
And where do you see him in terms of that right now?
I think he's had his moments. I think he's got to improve.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Thank you.